Hi. How is something that came to mind a little earlier is about switching identities. We every single one of us as human being are unique in our own way, right? We are unique, everyone. I mean, I covered some one of my other videos. I spoke about is that God has made everything uniquely, right? There's not one blade of grass. This doesn't look the same as the other one. They have a grain of sand. They've even discovered that each grain is different. There's a small amount of variations, but everything is different. So we're all unique, right? That's why we can never come from a parent or mother or father or from a family line and say, I'm the same. No one's the same. Whether you want to join yourself to a cult, whether it be your culture or a group of people that you want to identify it, whatever the case is, you are unique, right? And whatever your uniqueness is all about, it is meant to be honed. It can take the pathway downwards, or it can take the pathway upwards, depending upon your choice for good or evil, right? Now, this is where God comes in. Of course, God is always equipped. The one who wants good. God is the author and the finisher of all that's good and of the light. So you can't do it all on your own. But for evil, to choose evil, well, there you have your father, the devil, and he'll gladly help you. He'll gladly take you down with him because that's what he does best, right? He wants to make you into his image. Now, I was going along the avenue, but switching identities. There was a story a long time ago. It's called The Picture of Dorian Gray. Dorian Gray. And it's about this guy, and I don't know if it's a true story or what. But I mean, it is pretty well equatable. He has a lot of equations and reality to life in general because people like to project, right? In the picture, in the movie, the story anyway, is that a guy was projecting everything all through his years into this picture that was a picture perfect of a highly regal and a dignified person in the picture. Well, he was, as he grew, he was taken from the picture, all the beauty and of it, and bringing it into himself. And he was taking his ugliness and moving it over. So he remained looking good and feeling good. So he didn't have to worry about being evil, right? He didn't have to worry about the effects of it because the picture was taking on everything, right? And over the years went by, someone went into the closet by chance where the picture was kept, and they saw how grotesque the picture became, but they noticed he looked really good. He looked, as a matter of fact, on the first day that the picture was actually put in the closet, that he started to look like that as the years went by. There is the Bible says that the devil comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. So he's got to do it some way. And what is he stealing? Okay. The very same way that he can't do it himself, right? He's done for, right? The Bible says he comes as an angel of light. He comes as, he's not, he's lost that, right? Well, what he has to do, he's got to do it to somebody good. He's got to do it really, not to somebody good. He has to do it to someone. So he does it to his children, the ones who totally are all happy with being proud, ignorant, arrogant, stupid, ridiculousness, wicked to the highest extreme, calloused, mad. You don't care what levels that they go. So what he has to do in order to keep them picture perfect, because the reality about where they're going, and this is where they lie to themselves too, is that they are going to become eventually. That's why you see people in their older age. And I really do believe, I mean, I may be wrong, but I've seen this over and over again. And some people I've gone to know them and I go, now I know why. They because they haven't grown old gracefully, it starts to show in their face. It starts to show in their body even. People, even women who had really nice looking bodies, all of a sudden became like little trolls, looking like a troll, like a witch, like a hag. You even look at some of them, their nose, like it blew me away. I've seen women with really nice nose structures and they're older. Their nose is taking a slope and something about their skin. They look like a hag, a witch. Like you're thinking, whoa, that's weird. And even their eyes don't have nothing good about it. They talk to you, you don't see nothing, you don't sense nothing sweet coming from them. And if you are caught yourself at some points in a highly sensitive level, they come and sit in your presence. You can detect and pick up something very odious, something, a smell, a kind of an awfulness coming from them. The thing is about switching identities that at certain points, people as they go along in their life, because we don't know the overall quiet conversation and battles that these folks have. And I mean, we all do, right? We all do. But people who come to terms with their, how can I put it, their wanted to be corrected and wanted to become right and wanted to become of the light, they can really face up to the mirror, the life, the light, much more easier than ones who don't want to. They're in denial, right? Totally denial of their condition, right? You come along, dum da dum da dum da dum. You're showing all this joy and everything else. And the thing is that when you're in a higher state, life really, and the Bible says that the righteous have a consistent party. Yeah, like yeah, now I'm talking about going on, like they're just basically joyful. They're they are they're illuminated, right? They're of the light. They call them the light bearers, light workers, or whatever, right? That's because they're of the children of the light. Jesus says, I am the light of the world. So they obviously belong to him. They're his children, right? They will bear his resemblance in so many ways, right? When you come along, and if you're carrying the light with these kinds of folks, they, without you realizing, they're going to not only observe you, they're going to know immediately that you are just like that picture in the closet. And they're going to find a way to switch identities. Why is it so important for them? Because they're living a torment that they can't handle. And don't be fooled by them. Don't be fooled and think that they're all happy. They're some of the most depressed, loneliness, disfigured, disgusting, awful people. Period. Not even to be wrong, period. Even just to go into their house, even just to go into their environment, you pick up something that's just very awful. And I've rented from people like that. And I noticed there was some kind of a darkness in the environment that I couldn't really pinpoint. But I knew every time I left and I went out and I went away from, I started to feel all buoyant once again until I came back into the house. And sometimes it took a while for me to see that person slowly start to show what they've been hiding in the closet of the picture that's taken on their identity. And what they do with people close in their environment, like I was saying, but you come in their environment, you're all buoyant and so on and so forth. They start a very slow, insidious, you can't see it, but it's very meticulous. It is very precise with precision. They find a way to cause the transaction of stealing from you. That's why you feel like shit when you walk away from them, because you're just taking on something from them. See, they said a lot of ways. It says not as much as what people have said to me is how people made me feel. Because this thing about energy, man, is so real. It's invisible. So I would like to call it, instead of energy, I like to call it invisible communication. The stuff that we don't see. It's who the person really is, because everything operates on a communicative level. It's their language. It's their language. Whatever you feel like after your transaction with something that's awful, you will feel that. Will it immediately? Will it go away? Of course, because it's effect. See, the thing is that this is them as a planet, right? So you just experience a snippet of it, right? But that's how they feel all the time. They're used to this. They're used to this garbage ugliness in their environment and to feel icky and yucky and they're always justifying themselves. They have something to talk about. They're complaining and they like to do this you. If you listen to them carefully, that you. Now all these things that they're doing, one way or the other, or they come and they put their hands on you. Hi. They like to touch. Another thing they're doing, they are taking your identity. They are doing a switcheroo with you. The longer the time, and they can afford it, okay, they're very patient, like a snake that watches its prey. They're very patient. Now, the Bible says that the devil comes to steal. The second things they come to do, okay, the Bible says to kill. If they can kill enough of your strength that comes from the righteous place, they can invade your sanctum, your inner being. And that's where they can possess you. Do I think it's partial be demonic possession? No, but I could believe they can find enough residence inside of you that you can find yourself ruminating too much about them. They're in your attention span a little too much. They become the first person you think about of doing something good for before everyone else. You, without realizing, have lost credibility in the ability to stop evil. And they know this because just as the Bible says, lest the righteous reaches out to wickedness, they're always going to be in a good place. One way the wicked know this is that they just got to get you to touch them by interaction. More and more, more and more. And with you out realizing it, they begin to take on even your beauty. They will go as far, and they're so ignorant and ridiculous to go as far to begin to mimic your talents. So much to the point that they'll have you so convinced. Because the one thing about people who are very righteous, they have something called a powerful faith, right? The wicked don't have that. The wicked have a different kind of faith. It's a manipulative witchcraft, different than from faith, what the righteous has. And faith is powerful, right? Through their means of witchcraft, okay? They're able to somewhat turn around how you attract good and turn it around to them. So they begin to experience your good whilst you begin to experience their consequences, their crap. You see, the whole thing about the switcheroo is for their benefit. And don't be fooled by this topic. It's very real. It's very real. It is so real that when people used to do voodoo and witchcraft, they would always ask and say, get something of their personal belongings and bring it to me. Because it is the mode, it's the medium by which the transaction happens, the attachment. The thing about the people who can steal and will steal your identity is that once they attach to you, they're siphoning. They're siphoning. Now, can you at any point get out and begin to become stabilized and equipped and energized once again? Oh, you bet you can. But the more time you spend away from them, the more energetic you will become. At the same time, the more bigger in the energy field that you become, the more powerful, how can I put it, the more powerful stuff you have to give to them for the next transaction. and you hand it over because you are willfully choosing to be yoked with them. Where the destruction can take place is that because they do know what they're doing. And demons are behind a lot of them, but I'll tell you something, because they don't know, do know, you know that they are in cohesion and in relationship with evil spirits. And don't deny these people. You get ask God, and you hear him say some stuff, and you're gonna go, wow, this person is more deep than I thought. I mean, I'm talking deep. I'm talking they know more spiritual stuff than you can even begin to imagine, because they're experiencing it. They've learned from the dark side how to exercise the ability to take one of the most powerful things a human being has, and that's their vitality, their force. Okay? Some cultures have even learned how to suffer an animal so terribly, and they even come out saying just so they can eat of its force. You think that's just coincidental they say this stuff? Those nations are cursed, by the way. Don't think they're not. Anybody who harms an animal, even people do that with animals. They will take the innocence and the beauty and the sweetness of an animal onto themselves for energy. Okay? Doesn't mean they'll become like a sweet and docile and loving, but the animal begins to take on their aggressiveness, their awfulness. And I've seen this. I've seen people adopt sweet, amazing animals, and a month later met that animal. The thing looked like it was possessed by something right from the pit of hell. A totally different animal. That's identity switching. They're very real people. They're cheats. They're cheats. They're cheap. They have no class and they have no dignity because they're not willing to work and put in the work for what you do. See, having and being righteous and having the vitality that God provides to the good person is because of the stuff you put in. It's your willfulness. There's so many. It's wanting to be like that. It's wanting to do the work. Even these people don't care about that stuff. That stuff is that's menial for me. I'll just wait till you come in the environment. I'll just take it from you. All right. See, but we got to switch up on that. We got to switch up on that. We got to let these people know, you know what? It's time for them to suffer. It's time for them to suffer. Enough. It's time for the wicked to suffer. I'm going to leave you with that. You all have a good day. Do like and subscribe. And that's what I really believe the world is coming to, that people are going to become more and more and more aware of. It's very important that you don't hand over what is so precious in life, and that's your vital force. Have a good day. Thank you.